A warm welcome to all of you once again. Mr. Sharma is a very important guest for us. We don't have a fire here, but it's a fireside chat.
There is much fire in the stock market on our name.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we don't need more fire.
Yeah. So Vijay, can I call you Vijay?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Vijay will give us a peek into his worldview, his thoughts. There are very few Indian tech entrepreneurs who have become a household name because of the app they created. Just to give you a brief background, and correct me, Vijay, on the years.
Yes.
And it was year 2009 that he started what was called a cashless option for mobile top-up.
Yes. Yes.
That was how he started. 2014, he created a wallet. 2016, I think post-demonetization, he became a must commodity to have. I started having him on my mobile phone.
I love the personification of Paytm.
Yeah.
I want to be at your service.
Yes, absolutely. Today, there is a view that digital wallets have now only 1% of retail loans, I'm told. In the case of Vijay, Paytm, the bulk, at least 50% or so, is based on UPI.
Yes.
Now, we get to hear all kinds of things about what is Paytm's business model. Is Paytm a wallet, or is Paytm a fintech company? What it is going to look like, what it will be like from 5 years from now? I think we have got an opportunity to hear him on what Paytm is going to be like and what it is right now. Vijay, a few words on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. It's very kind of you all to invite me here. And the one innovation that Paytm did, which I'm very proud of, and I think most of us see that now everywhere, is a decision to leverage the QR code as a acquiring side technology. So there was a time when in 2012-13, we were building payment systems, and I'm sure some of us remember that the peak of the payment in India was online payments. And then there was cards, plastics, and if you remember, those days, not more than 3 million devices, meaning the number of shops that you could pay were even lesser than that. And I come from a city called Aligarh, but I come from a town near Aligarh called Harduaganj. So I'm not even an Aligarh main city guy. So my problem was that I've never seen a EDC machine, if you will. And I was like, if this technology cannot solve the problem of this last mile, I do not know what else we would do. So I genuinely took it on myself as a challenge that can we solve the payment problem for that last shop, which is out there in the end of the food chain, if you will. And then there was all the decision around, like, let's say, tap and pay, or they were, I think NPCI had created MMID that time. There was an MMID concept and USSD concept to pay. And it was clearly a progress towards where it had to go, but was not there yet. And one of the biggest decisions was that this is also the time when internet on mobile phone, 3G was happening. If you remember, India, 3G happened 2011-12.
Yes.
So now the decision was that whether we will peg our business on the smartphone or on a plastic or on a feature phone.
Correct.
And my theory was that I think this revolution of smartphone or mobile internet is like a tsunami. It won't be able to be controlled, even though the devices were costly, the internet connection was choppy. I was clear, like, the phone revolution has happened, the smartphone revolution is due to happen. And that made, and I want to tell you all, shockingly, this also had NFC software. So people were thinking this will be NFC. But then came this Eureka movement to my life. I saw this QR, every phone had a camera. So now the offline systems API to online system. You know, the theory was that how can I take the token and technology from the shop to myself in a physical world to a digital world. And this camera worked out as a thought process that every smartphone eventually will have a camera. So I still remember on a whiteboard, we wrote down that we need internet connection, smart devices, it'll be smartphone. I think every phone will have a camera. Now, this is something
So which year was that?
This is 2012.
Okay.
This is 2012. Now, 2013, we discussed that, well, the next problem will be that even if we want to make a payment between merchant and consumer, if you know, the banks have bank accounts, and like I told you, MMID or other systems were not smartphone friendly enough.
Okay.
They were made for feature phone as a common denominator. So we're like, maybe not. Let's create a total new payment instrument. And that is when we applied for PPI wallet license in 2013. Now think about it, the audaciousness of a thought process that we have to solve for this last mile, the shopkeeper, who may or may not even want digital payment, but we are solving it for that person. Now the bank accounts are not ready because they don't give a smartphone-based API, which came probably 2017-18 called UPI, and we are talking 6 years before that. We said, no problem, we'll create an account called wallet account, and that is how we applied for Paytm wallet license. We got it in 2014, and 2015 we started to deploy these QR codes. The magic happened when somebody reached office, and the guy reached an auto rickshaw person, and the bill was 67 rupees. I still remember that number. That he said that, oh, you don't have a change. So he goes, 100 bucks. He said, oh, you don't have a change. No, I don't have a change. आप Paytm के ऑफिस में आए हो, Paytm क्यों नहीं कर रहे? तो बोलता आपको पता है क्या है?
This is in Gurgaon. This is in Gurgaon.
This is in Noida.
Okay.
Noida. आप Paytm के ऑफिस में आए हो, Paytm करो ना. तो उसने मेरे को WhatsApp के एक मैसेज में लिखा, मैं कहा बॉस ये चल जाएगा अब. If the customer whom we are talking has understood how does it work, this is going to work. And that is when, and he folded out the QR code that he had. I was like, wow, man, ये तो next level magic हो रहा है. And that is where we started the QR code. And I fundamentally believe, I remember in 2018, if some of you remember, UPI started 2016 end. If you remember, the Beam UPI was launched in 2016 and 2017. 2017, not much happened in UPI. The traffic was not there, or you people were not using it, and it had two big dramatic limitations. So I remember Nandan asked me, and I met regulator meetings and so on, how can we grow this? And my always the biggest qualm was that Paytm wallet funding, meaning the bank account to the wallet, was very pricey, like an e-commerce price, 1.5%, 1.2%. So we were doing Robin Hood-giri. यहाँ पे पैसे देते थे और यहाँ पे फ्री में दे देते थे. But ये charity long term नहीं चलेगी, which is exactly what we wanted to solve. So we were pursuing RBI, we were pursuing card network, we were pursuing banks, that you give this money on a BFSI pricing, moving from one account to other account. And they said, no, this is an online payment, so we will treat you as an online merchant payment.
Correct.
So this is the moment when Nandan told me that, oh, we can give you one API. If you use that, the condition is that you will make your QR, you will have to help us grow that.
Grow UPI.
And that API was called UPI.
Yeah.
So I said, yes, sir, we anyways are committed towards it, but we are waiting for that UPI to be given as an API to us, so we will in due course do it. So then he said, help us grow UPI because it is not taking off. So I said two things, and I want in this room to be understood those two magical things that surprised us on that day. I said, number one, the UPI as an email address, nobody remembers. I think we aren't able to tell each other, I'm VSS at Paytm, or Vijay at Paytm, or Vijay.Shekhar at Paytm.
Correct.
So UPI address yaad nahi aayega, sir. The shopkeeper cannot keep the address. He has to keep the QR code. So UPI has to move to the QR code. That is the first statement, first offering that as Paytm we did. And second I said, which is a contagious topic even today, I said it has to be free for merchant.
It has to be free for merchant.
It has to be free for merchant. Because in this country, the advantage of digital and financial inclusion are yet not seen or executed enough for the person to have a reason that I will take it on zero price. Because a lot of people used to think कि 100 रुपए का 99 अगर मेरे बैंक में आ रहा है तो यार मुझे नहीं चाहिए, मेरे पास पैसे इतने नहीं हैं. और 1 रुपया 1.5 रुपया लोग ले लेते थे, चाहे different cost structure में ले जाएं, हम round off करके बोल सकते हैं. तो the reason of in the demonetization days, the Paytm success also was because we did not charge the receiver. We said कि आप हमारे network पे हो, आपको send, receive सब कुछ free मिलेगा. And that is exactly what I was saying कि सर इसको करें. Now obviously 5-party network, payments between banks, a lot of things to be done. And then I'm lucky to say this, that we as country took a decision, and I think as you know today, that MIETY, Ministry of IT, took a decision that we will fund this, we will subvention it. So the success of UPI, in my opinion, is based on these two biggest criteria, that it is universally acceptable thanks to the QR code, and it is zero price because thanks to that everybody is there. Now today, at a beginning of G20 presidency next year, we can very profoundly say that we built something which is absolutely world class, and each of you are participant towards it. So thank you so much for giving an opportunity to everyone of us.
So going forward, how would Paytm be seen in the next 5 years, if you can think ahead?
If, in fact, I should say this reverse way, did you know 5 years back you will be sitting here? Answer is no.
Okay.
so rather I'd say that this is too far ahead of my vantage point.
Okay.
At the same point of time, let me say what 5 years back we were thinking to 5 years forward we are thinking. I believe that payment is a fundamental truest truth of movement of truth for a commercial transaction. This is the moment when one unknown person is making payment to another unknown person, and they have to trust the system. And इसीलिए करेंसी नोट पे लिखा होता है, मैं धारक को 10 रुपए अदा करने का वचन देता हूँ, और उस पे एक ऑटोग्राफ होता है हमारे गवर्नर साहब का कि ये देखो मैं इस सर्टिफिकेट को दे रहा हूँ तुम्हें. So IOU इशू करते हैं. अब सोचो उस एग्रीमेंट को जिसको आप नहीं साइन करते, गवर्नर से साइन करके आप हैंड ओवर करते हो. करेक्ट? द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ ट्रस्ट इज सो हाई, एंड उस ट्रांजैक्शन को आपको एक न्यू एज कंपनी के ब्रांड नेम पे करना है. पेटीएम कर दूं? तो ये जो मूवमेंट है, ये मूवमेंट हमारे लिए एक काजम क्रॉस, ट्रस्ट क्रॉस और माइलस्टोन क्रॉस मूवमेंट था. सो 5 years back we were thinking that can we take this payment, exactly what we are talking, कि 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए महीने करेंगे नहीं करेंगे. And right now तो आप देख ही रहे हो कि कितने ब्यूटीफुली इस नंबर पे जा रहा है. So I think that in next 5 years India's payment predominantly, I mean अभी भी हम लोग बहुत जगह कैश यूज करते हैं, बहुत जगह कार्ड यूज करते हैं, और सबका सब मोबाइल फोन पे आ ही जाएगा. सो इन अदर वर्ड्स, सबसे पहले तो मैं ये बोलना चाहता हूँ कि रिटेल पेमेंट्स विच आर इन विसिनिटी ऑफ 20-30% टुडे, डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट ऑल यू ऐड इन द रिटेल पेमेंट एंड व्हाट यू एक्सट्रैक्ट, this should cross the chasm of 75-30%. So, which means that people in this country comfortably will never have a question कि मैं मैसेज भेजूंगा, अटैचमेंट करके आपको भेज दूंगा. You know what I'm quoting right now, कौन सी सर? ऐसी करके पेमेंट करना एक इवेंट नहीं होएगा. It'll be understood that it is trusted and it is able and executed and acknowledged. So 5 years will be the time in which this country would have moved from a place where the shop could open without requiring a digital payment system to a system where the shop begins by acquiring a digital payment system. So उनका बिगनिंग ऐसा हुआ करेगा कि अगर मैं दुकान खोल रहा हूँ, मैं एक रेस्टोरेंट खोल रहा हूँ, मैं एक छोटा दुकान खोल रहा हूँ, मुझे पहले पेमेंट का मशीन चाहिए. जैसे वो गल्ला लेके आते हैं, ऐसे पेमेंट का मशीन चाहिए. अब मशीन चाहिए में QR होगा, साउंड बॉक्स होगा, EDC होगा, कुछ और होगा, फेस रिकग्निशन होगा, सेल्फ रिकग्निशन होगा, कुछ भी होएगा. और कंज्यूमर साइड में अभी जो हम ये यहाँ पे बात करते हैं कि फोन यूज करेंगे, we could change this. I mean, this is a form factor. Effectively, this is a form factor of assurance. This could have changed, I mean, dramatically changed. I mean, I'm not going to say that face recognition and thumb recognition will not be the priorities, but they could be totally something. I mean, I internally call this the best payment is when you do it without saying it at all. Is that it, Mr. Sharma? Yes, that it is. So that'll be it, 450 rupees. And you just smile and pay. So smile and pay is my personal benchmark when you do not even have to do any action whatsoever. Everything is in so trust environment that you do not even need to do something. But seeing the fraud, seeing the concerns that we have, I think this will happen in a trusted environment to a trusted verifier, and then it will happen with a significant amount of trust to be settled between consumer and merchant.
And you do see it in the next 5 years?
100%. No, less than 5 years. I can tell you that we today are able to demonstrate and do it without requiring a fraud to walk into this, because the point is, if you notice, the RBI also gone to check system which is pre-verified system. In other words, that if you're issuing a check to this person, you pre-verified, so check signing authority will be verified, but the pre-verification would sort out. So this is happening in this 5 years. The customer will pay without requiring anything, and will say, yes, that's it. And the merchant will say, yes, that's nice. That is the ultimate merchant will say.
We will meet again less than 5 years and
I
and
definitely
check base.
believe that.
You know, there are a lot of people outside in the newspapers, the media, everybody talks about that almost 50% of your gross merchandise value is UPI based, which doesn't give you any revenue. Is that something that worries you?
Okay, so this is a myth that UPI does not have revenue.
Okay.
It's a blunt myth, because government of India pays for the bips that merchant had to pay. So if it's a subventioning. In other words, merchant does not pay, government pays on behalf of merchant.
Okay.
So there is a payment that is done as an MDR by the merchant, except that it does not come from merchant's account, it comes from government's
government
account.
account.
And that last year was 1,400 crores. If you were to see the net bips of whatever that percentage it makes, I mean, we've done the calculation based on what government of India gave a public statement and so on. You could give or take around 7 to 8 bips as a net margin on UPI, which itself is a large margin in my opinion, large enough margin for it to be sustainable. Yes, there is no doubt about it that there are more business models that get created on the top of it. Like we have created a cloud-based subscription service called Soundbox, the devices, the reconciliation system, the marketing system. So, in fact, I want to tell you one thing here. If you were to think that SMS has a model of 5 paisa, 25 paisa or 1 paisa, 1 rupee for sending per SMS, WhatsApp does not have a business model because it does not charge, is misunderstanding at a large level.
Sure, sure.
In other words, that there is, first of all, per SMS equal to per payment bips. And then in second, there are other byproducts that have created, which are literally large. And I'm in this room, I'm happy to announce this, because this is the number that we've made public. We have more than 5 million devices giving us 100 rupees a month. So 55,000 million, which is like 500, you can understand $100 million annually, very comfortable revenue.
Yeah.
That's a cloud subscription. That's not less money. And you have to understand, in a business model, when you do not make money in a technology business model in a step 1, there is a step 2 and step 3, which is derivative 1, derivative 2, d by dx square. You know, I'm an engineer, so I can talk about those kind of parlances, that there is a large amount of revenue. So we believe that this country should keep UPI free till the time period more than majority of shopkeepers and customers are making payments by digital mobile payment systems, because after that, the chasm crosses of the country's economy, the secondary and tertiary impact of keeping this on economy are dramatically large. This shopkeeper who was not doing a compliance of filing a tax registration to NDMC or municipal corporations and everybody else, is now having a heartbeat in a financial system. Whether it is government, whether it is financial system, they can do and reach out to that person. He's identified as some unit. Till now, before this happened, this person was just somebody like a counting error in this country. Do we have 1.3 billion people or do we have 1.35 billion people? Guess what? You just rounded off 50 million people in this country. So this is where the problem is. And my opinion, by bringing the QR code to that last mile where it is given for zero, we are able to create a dramatic amount of secondary and tertiary economic impact, and that is what we will be valued for.
Fantastic. I think you have made a statement of the evening, actually. You're saying that UPI should continue and UPI
obligatory.
Has obligatory.
Obligatory. I have a statement that zero MDR is a force multiplier of economic growth.
Okay. In the last couple of years, you have had to deal with two kinds of regulators. And we just now discussed, before we came in here, we were discussing about regulation. Can you tell us about your approach to both the regulators? One is the banking regulator, the other is the market regulator. How are they different? What has been your experience? And are there any points that you think that you need to work on?
आप ताऊजी और ताऊजी के बीच का अंतर तो नहीं पूछ रहे ना?
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं पूछ रहा.
कौन से ताऊजी? ये वाले. I think RBI has a tough job. I mean, more I'm living a regulated banker, chairman life, the more I understand, the more I'm concerned about the kind of things they handle in a day. From handling something which is an obligation to solve for last consumer, the consumer whose deposits are in bank or financial system somewhere, to the innovation which is dramatizingly changing. And they cannot make a regulation till the time period it has become impactful, which means that they have to obligately be a lagger. This profound definition that regulators are lagging, I think this is an illogical statement. आप कार में कब सवारी करोगे? जब कार आ जाएगी तो रेगुलेशन कब बनाओगे? जब वो एक्शन आ जाएगा. इसमें क्या क्वेश्चन है? मतलब ये this is a bad rhetoric. The regulators are lagging behind the innovation. No, structurally it is like this. आप बस में तब बैठते हो जब बस स्टॉप पे आ जाती है. यानी कि अब ये इनोवेशन स्केलेबल हो गई, अब हम इसको रेगुलेट करते हैं. So I would say the job of RBI is tougher than what we sit outside perceive.
Okay.
And I empathize with the kind of challenges they face, and I understand why they ask for it. Why they ask for what they ask. Because they cannot, and the best part about the misunderstanding I think the regulator also have is that regulation is n equal to 1, the law of land is n equal to everyone common. Okay. In other words, regulator regulates every individual entity individually, while law of the land is like all of us are equal, citizen of this country, everybody follows this. Now, these are a lot of misunderstandings. As of chapter 1, I believe that regulator-related entities or all kind of conversation we should sort out. Now, this is true for, again, whether you talk about SEBI, whether you talk about RBI. RBI is obviously the money market. Money is the people deposit and that regulator. So I would say that we are a very small entity in the whole ecosystem. We only do the payments and we take small deposits. So the amount of impact that we can have is that we have a large number of customer base. That is the only value which is very large. And we move large amount of money between the consumers on a retail basis. Now that gives us a lot of learning on this. So my thing is that RBI is very progressive. I mean, I will not call them progressive. I will not call them good. I will call them very progressive. Ability to forecast, ability to see through, ability to bring a solution which normally has not come in elsewhere also. I want to talk about card on file tokenization. All of us understand that cards are saved at e-commerce websites and then they were getting stolen, charged or something or other fraud was happening. It was a leap of faith call that every website will have for every customer a dedicated card token which will not be replicable on some other place. Now, this means heavy-duty lifting on technology, heavy-duty lifting on ecosystem, which is working. If you remember, there was a time when RBI brought OTP for online payment. And I remember that time because we used to be not a banking entity, but we used to be part of an industry forum where it was discussed that, oh, this will kill internet industry in India. This will create so much of trouble as a friction for the customer. SMSs don't get delivered, everything, etc., etc. But today we have to be saying that the regulator was so profoundly far ahead of understanding what customers' problem were that today we don't have that level of fraud that could have happened. Understand that there is always a fraud out there, but the amount of fraud could have happened dramatically ahead of it. And I think this kind of example of US or Singapore is counterintuitive. US prints its own money and throws it on the world. And Singapore is like managing Dadar. So please, I mean, क्या बात कर रहे हो? दोनों को मत compare करो यार. आप country of 1.3 billion जिसमें से 0.3 billion ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको कि दुनिया में चमकदार बोला जाता है. You know what I'm trying to say? कि वो सबको बना दें. तो उस सब के बीच में मेरा मानना है कि आरबीआई का कार्ड ऑन फाइल रेगुलेशन देखे, आरबीआई का स्टैंड ऑन क्रिप्टो. आई मीन हेड्स ऑफ टू RBI that they were able to stand in front of so many industry bodies, so many people, and a global
and
rush.
Take on the government.
And against the government also sometimes if we believe that there was a conflict between government and RBI, but I've never seen that. The best part is I met a finance minister also and there was very clear stand that look, we believe unless it is a global regulation, we will not do it. So ability of RBI has to be exemplary acknowledged here. Talking about SEBI, I think SEBI is in this market where everybody, I mean, देखो सेबी तो मैनेज करता है बॉम्बे के चमकदार लोगों को, बस इतना ही बोलो.
आप चमकदार नहीं हैं.
नहीं. देखिए सेबी अब मैं कैसे बोलूं, अगर आरबीआई का कस्टमर बेस बिलियंस में है तो सेबी का कस्टमर उसके निच 25 मिलियन कस्टमर है. मतलब उसका जो 25 मिलियन का 2.5 मिलियन है, द टॉप ऑफ 2.5 मिलियन ऑफ दिस कंट्रीज ट्रेडर्स, दे आर लाइक world smart. I mean, let me just say this. They're not second to anybody in the world, which means that SEBI has to do a lot of running around. And I would say that finding where the trouble is, derivative of, digitization is helping. And the market systems, like we just saw MMI and all sorts of things, they have a lot of things to be done. And I have a lot of hope from SEBI that they are able to do those. Because the point is that, look, remember, that if the financial system of this country is great, thanks to the regulations and government in tandem, this thing that we are seeing, we need the equity market to be equally depth.
That's right.
I mean, we have to give it to the mutual fund वाले लोग जो हर थोड़े दिनों में बताते रहते हैं mutual fund सही है और लोग उसमें आके आते हैं. चाहे equity की बात सोचा, देखो जो लोग हंस रहे हैं उनके लिए नहीं था ये. आपको लगता है म्यूचुअल फंड सही नहीं है तो आप पीएमएस वाले हो. यही मैं बोल रहा था, सेबी को आपको हैंडल करना है. बाकी अगर म्यूचुअल फंड वाले हैं उनको इजीली हैंडल कर लेते हैं. सो द पॉइंट इज दैट सेबी हैज टास्क कट आउट टू ब्रिंग ड्रामेटिक लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ वेल्थ to stock market so that the market depth increases. And I think the new age companies and the kind of companies that are listing, it is very clear that India is a market of future.
That's right.
And there is no doubt about it. Private market-wise, we were lucky. We got a lot of risk capital. And public market-wise, I do believe that we will continue to get that support that will make this India the opportunity of the next decade.
That's right.
Look, the markets are complete only when there is an economical market and there is a market of raising money for the corporates and so on. Which, in my opinion, the new changes that they brought and things like that, they are perfectly in the right direction.
Yeah, you got listed recently. There were some valuation issues, and then you have gone in for a buyback.
Achha, we price less or more?
So what are your lessons from this entire experience with the markets and the market regulator as a listed entity?
अब ये बहुत बड़ा सवाल है कि what is the overall lesson?
Lessons, yeah.
So I'll give it in the Buddha Zen statement like,
Yeah.
every pain stays till the time period it delivers the message it carries.
Yeah. Just elaborate it a bit.
इसका मतलब है बहुत पेन हुआ और मैसेज भी मिल गया.
Okay, good. Well done. Good.
In
good,
as many
good.
words.
Fantastic. Yeah. Going forward, there is this issue about any company which is in this your kind of sector, a lot of cash burn, and so how long do you see the cash burning to continue?
Okay. So I want to tell this cash burning math and a little bit of a training session method. Okay. So 1978, IC chips, Intel, National Semiconductor. 1982, IBM PC, Apple. Then उसके आगे OS2, Linux, operating system, MS-DOS. फिर उसके आगे उसके ऊपर बनाने वाले सॉफ्टवेयर, Oracle, Adobe. फिर उसके ऊपर इंटरनेट यानी नेटवर्क आया, Sun Microsystem. फिर उसके ऊपर नेटवर्क के अंदर ब्राउजर आया, मार्क एंड्रीसन, नेटस्केप. फिर उसके अंदर सर्च आया, डेविड फ्लो, जेरी यांग, yahoo.com और अपने दोस्त लोग गूगल वाले. फिर उसके अंदर उस कंटेंट का कंज्यूमर आया. ये सब जो दिख रहा है, इसमें क्या है कि अगर हम 5 साल पहले देखें, 10 साल पहले देखें और 5 साल आगे और 10 साल आगे जाएं, so the triangle is like this. The bottom line company, which is let's say a chip making company, will be valued on absolute free cash flow. Because it has been decided what is the use case, this impact, this technology can bring to the layer ahead. And then, like the PC companies, Lenovo in 2012 decided that, or IBM decided that this is my optimum value, I'm going to give it up. So then they became the efficient layer of technology which has been decided what its value is and how much of free cash it generates. But you go up above. Now think about it, 2008 or 2010, how much of Facebook could have been valued? You don't know. So you think about it, that this customer who's coming here again and again, and very high repeat frequency, there is a propensity and a probability that this customer could be valued. And now this is a fancy math from this point onward. Like $100, $200, $1,000. आप लोगों को याद होगा 2016 या 15-16 में WhatsApp was purchased for $1,200 per customer. हम तो कुछ नहीं दे रहे थे उसको. उस customer की value कहाँ से आ गई? That kind of question can come. Yeah. But there was an understanding that this customer on this platform is driving that much amount of economic value. So this company was valued $16 and $20 billion. Just in case you guys should know that WhatsApp was purchased for $20 billion in those days. And that cash was considered outrageous. Similarly, YouTube was purchased for $5 billion. That was outrageous. Instagram was bought for $1 billion, outrageous. But all the math was that per customer value of this platform can be this attributed towards this kind of upside. Now here that is what the math is. That all these companies in tech space are valued based on the forward-looking some mathematics. But the stock market, after the 20-year of free run, I would use the word free run, 2001, जिस टाइम पे 9/11 हुआ था, उसके बाद एक मार्केट डाउन हुआ, उसके बाद कैश आया मार्केट में, और 2021, which is the year that we passed last year, had free money in the market to build the business cases of the different use cases this platform can build. So what is the multiple and valuation that is? Any ambition that you are able to put up to execution and then make money. For example, like let's say if you have any telecom customer today of any telecom operator, how much money can telco make? बहुत सारी. Now how much you are talking, you have addressed. Now this is where the high tide was created. That's then right. Came this overcost of inflation or interest rate. I'm sure all of us understand the US interest rates have become so crazy that companies which had based their growth based on credit are now paying dramatic amount of cost, which means that global, there is a tech reset. So here it is. In the global tech reset, which is led by the cost of capital increase, no company anywhere in the world will be spared because this has got originated where the money was originated to these risk capitals.
That's right.
Which makes any company, whether in Southeast Asia or India or elsewhere in any part of the world, obviously in US, dramatically cut its forecast of what it could have done per customer. I'm sure you are reading today morning that $1 trillion got wiped off of Amazon. It does not make money, it makes tons of money.
Yeah.
And then it is forecasted, resetted that no, $1 trillion is cut. Now, these kind of cuts are done because of the forward-looking number of the customers that you have and money you could have made. Thank God for India's stock market, which is always taken as, आप मेरे को धंधे में बताओ कितना बनाते हो, उसके अलावा मैं आपकी कुछ इज्जत नहीं करता. Now that kind of market means सब कुछ clean हो जाता है यहाँ पे आके.
Correct.
और private market में कुछ भी high tide होता है. Now that is, in my opinion, resetted for the whole world. So any of this group in this room or otherwise elsewhere, we have assumed that it was easy to raise money on the forecast of I will have customer who in turn will have economic value, are now going to add money only when they have exhibited that they can make money.
Correct.
So welcome to the reality. There are no more technology companies. They're companies of a sector and you are technology led. That's it. So this is the reset in the world. There are no more technology companies of a sector or disruptor technology companies. Now technology is mainstream of every industry companies. You will be normalized to that industry's companies. Your edge will be that you are technology-led and technology-first versus other who is trying to still buy into it. So if you were to talk about financial services companies like banks, you heard a few minutes back, I don't think the bank will not invest in technology. I mean, they will invest and they have dramatically done a good job. I mean, if you remember, we were talking in this room a few minutes back, the same discussion that my app is better than your app, ratings are great, which simply means that they understand technology and they are investing in. So the era of technology was a hua or a ghost which you could not touch or a desperate random multiple has got sorted out. It is an era of that you are an industry of this in the economy. You could be an entertainment industry, you could be a media industry, you could be a financial services industry, you could be a transport, logistics, whatever, or commerce, retail. And then you are a technology led, which means you now are going to get a sectorial normalization. So that's why the valuations, etc., all sorted in the world.
Well, you did very well in not answering my question.
That's what my job was. Okay, I'll answer the first question in a one line exactly what you asked. Say that again.
How long will the cash burning continue?
No more. It has got decided last month that it would no more be continuing. So it is no more in few days. Every company is normalizing it to not cash burn. As far as Paytm is concerned, we have publicly declared that we are far ahead of our ambitions, far meaning like order of magnitude ahead in resetting our cash burns. So because we are a public listed company and I can only say what I publicly said, I want to say this once again, that we are far ahead of our expectations that we had than when we will have taken the cash burn to block, far ahead, and the numbers could be speaking for themselves.
That's the second statement of the evening. I think this discussion could have gone on and on with a person like Mr. Sharma around. I will end this last three rapid-fire questions.
Okay.
What makes you happy?
Being here and happy. Being here is happy. Somebody in my flight asked me that you don't seem to be stressed. I said, जिसकी जिंदगी में जो समस्या ही एक privilege हो, उसको क्या stress लेना यार? Having a problem like you have a problem like this is a privilege. I mean, how many people have this kind of problem that I have?
Yeah. What worries you?
Like I told you, first of all, I worry of stray bullets. Stray bullets वो होते हैं जैसे कि आप रोड पे जा रहे थे, आपको मिर्ची लगी तो मैं क्या करूं, पर आपने मेरी कार में मार दी. तो stray bullets are, मैं तो जा रहा था, आराम से कर रहा था, पर आपको मेरे अंदर आने के लगने का क्या था? Stray bullets.
And what makes you feel satisfied?
Oh, this country is dramatically going to rule the world for what consumer technologies will be in this next decade. I can tell you that I'm so proud of what we built in this country. I'm so proud of what we're building in this country. This is our decade. We will no more be just known as IT service provider. We will be known as consumer technology builder of the world, and I totally can see it happening.
Thank you very much, Vijay, for this wonderful statement. Thank you very much. Thank you.